I'm going to be sharing with you in this video how to manifest money effortlessly, to make this process not difficult, not hard, like a lot of people believe that it has to be, how to make it so that this entire process of manifesting what you want can become effortless, and you can actually remove all the struggle around it, because there's this struggle where we believe it has to be so difficult. I'm going to remove that myth for you in this video here so that you can finally step into the abundance that you deserve, because I believe that abundance is our birthright. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell. Also, all the details to work with me will be down below. Now, what I want to start off this video with is what works for me personally is to affirm the thoughts that make me feel more abundant. And you can test this out for yourself as well. Affirm the thoughts that make you feel abundant. Now, I want to make it very, very clear that it's not just about the thoughts. It's also about the energy behind the thoughts and how it makes you feel. So you do want to be energy focused. The priority here is not what you're thinking, although the intention and the thoughts are important in my experience, because you have to know your intention. But at the same time though, you don't want to be lost in the intention, because for me personally, yes, I'm always affirming. Yes, I'm always thinking from having what I want. But the most important thing that I've personally found is that the priority is always in the energy behind how it makes me feel. That's always the priority. If I start feeling like it's not aligned with who I want to be, then I'm going to stop thinking. Maybe I'll even change my thoughts or stop thinking completely, or maybe I'll just go outside to feel more abundant, because that's the thing, right? That is what brings in all that abundance, is how you actually feel. It's the feeling behind the thought, right? If you're just focused on the thought and what you want, how can I get it as fast as possible, you will possibly lose yourself in a deception of lack, where you believe that you want money, you believe that the thinking and the money, this is what you really, really want, but then you start losing your true power, which that's what money really is. It's your power. It's your connectedness to who you are. That's the energy of money. Because the more that you lose yourself in the external of just thinking and losing yourself in the intention, you're not abundant whatsoever. And you most likely will find a way to lose the abundance if you lose yourself in that state. So it's important to drop the prioritization of the thinking and to prioritize the energy. But with that being said though, I'm not saying that the thoughts are not also just as important, because in my experience, it is a balance act of intention and surrender. It is quite a balancing act. And if there's not a perfect balance of both intention and surrender, what has happened is that there's an imbalance. You can't manifest money if you're imbalanced. So the second thing that I want to share with you is something that a lot of people don't really understand, but what you want to do is ignore all lack frequencies. Ignore them. Ignore any lack that you feel. Because if you are putting all your attention and focus on this lack and what you don't have and what is not here right now and what's not making you feel good, that's when you further lose yourself more and more and more in what you don't have. And I'm not saying to not fully accept and honor every aspect of your journey and what you feel, but what I am saying though is to ignore it. And I think that people often confuse ignoring with not seeing. I'm not talking about not seeing anything. I see everything that happens in my experience of life. but I can see everything and consciously direct my attention to what I prefer, right? Because a lot of times when you hear this law of attraction, stuff, and you hear people talking about like ignore the lack and ignore the negativity, some people might think like, oh, that's a bunch of, that's ridiculous, accept everything and blah, 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 blah. Look, I'm not saying to not accept everything. All I'm saying is to not accept everything so much to the point where you've convinced yourself that you have to be stuck in a lack-based reality. You know what I mean? To be stuck in a lack-based reality. There's times and places to step into those realms, maybe to reprogram some stuff, maybe to see those things in a different way. But ultimately though, what you want to do is simply ignore it. Just ignore it. Because the more that you're putting your attention on all the stuff that you don't have and how it's not working for you, you're just going to manifest more of it. And when I decided simply to ignore this in my life, ignore the lack, to prioritize my energy, to ignore the lack energy, right? To ignore the thoughts that make me feel lack, to ignore the situations that make me feel lack. Because look, if you're the very nature of being able to see lack and have a space behind it implies that you're aware that you're not lost in it. So that means you can simply ignore it. Doesn't that make sense? If you're able to, because the thing is that most people are, their consciousness is entangled in the lack. But if you're already at a point in your life where you can see, I am here and there's the lack, here I am and then there's the lack, doesn't that mean that you already see it? So that you don't need to have any worry about, oh, maybe I'm running away from something, maybe I don't see something that I need to see, maybe I need to face something and do more shadow work. Look, if you already have that space, if you already have the capacity, to see the lack for what it is, you now can simply ignore it and focus on something else. Just simply focus on something else. Doesn't mean you're running away from anything, because if you see it, you can focus on something else. You can accept everything, but still focus on your preference. That's something that I used to have a really big problem with, is I can see as I was scared because I thought I had to move deeper into the negative emotions and the lack. And really what I was doing was I was not trusting how I truly feel about a situation. So what you can do is just ignore the lack. I know that sounds a little bit repetitive, but I wanted to make that very clear because that's what's going to allow you to truly be that person that you truly want to be. Now, the third and final thing that I want to share with you in this video is to walk and talk and be like you already have it. Because if you walk and you talk and you be like you already have it, you will start to shapeshift your consciousness to different versions of yourself where you already have it. You want to be a little bit delusional in that case. Be a little bit delusional, because the thing is that we're living in a reality where the physical realm and consciousness are one. So it's not like there's this physical reality and then there's consciousness over here. It's like they're literally entangled within each other. And so when you start to walk and talk and be like you already have it, things start to get a little bit interesting for you, because you start to realize that the entire time you could have just done that the whole time. And then you might look at your past and be like, oh man, you might become conscious that you were kind of sabotaging yourself by putting attention and paying attention, because attention is your highest currency. If you're paying your attention to things that are out of alignment with who you want to be, you are giving all this energy to things that are out of alignment with who you want to be. So the most important thing is to stop paying attention to these things in your life and simply walk and talk and be like you already have it. This is going to revolutionize your entire life. And then you'll realize that, again, as I was saying, you might look at your past and see like, oh yeah, you've been putting your attention on these things. Now the thing though that's very important though is to not judge yourself. I'm going to conclude the video here. It's not judge yourself for your past decisions and past things that you're aware of. Because if you judge yourself and you complain, you go, oh man, I can't believe I did all this stuff in the past. What you're doing is you're still feeding the old reality. You got to let that go. Just forgive yourself. Forgiveness is always king. And then walk and talk and be like you already have it, okay? And that's all I have for this video. Once again, all the details to work with me are going to be down below. Also, as always, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.